Good morning and welcome back to another Nudelberg Daily Huddle. Glad to be here with you guys where we get to kickstart the day every day with you.
I love the opportunity to hang with you. Chop it up today. We're going to talk some LinkedIn facts. The reports
All
are
LinkedIn.
the
Full
reports.
LinkedIn day.
The reports are in. So you don't have to believe me. You don't have to believe you. The reports are in, and I love when there's real data to talk about. But a couple of things I want to bring up this morning. First of all, Henry Kissinger passed, 100 years old. People your age and younger probably don't have a sense of who he is or was. Am I right?
I mean, I know I have an idea of who he was, but am I super? Do I know the details of his story? No, I would tell you I don't know the details of his story.
Got it. Well, he was the diplomat of diplomats in a time when the world was in a bad place. So 100 years is not a bad life, man. That's giving
Unbelievable.
That's living it right. You got him just passed. Rosalind Carter just passed in her late 90s. Crazy. These people lived.
Jimmy Carter is 99.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So yeah, Gabby and I were having this conversation just a couple days ago about the generations, and the silent generation was the generation before your generation. You're the boomers, and the silent generation is basically dead at this point. Like the last half of them are, and it was just such a mind-blowing thought for me to be like, damn, I know people like my grandmother and my grandfather are that silent generation, and that generation is just like disappearing from the earth now. It's crazy. It's absolutely nuts.
Crazy. Going more current, almost wore my Jet jersey today because there's good news out of Jet camp. He's back in practice. Now, either he is superhuman. I mean, what's the story here, Mark?
I don't know. You love to tell the Roger Bannister story, right? Yeah. Nobody thought you could run a 4-minute mile until Roger did it, and then everybody did it after that. So maybe this is a Roger Bannister moment where all of a sudden an ACL injury is no longer something that will end a career or keep you out for a full year, and it's possible.
I think Adrian Peterson proved that because he came back, I think 8 months after.
Yeah, but this is within 3 months of being on. This is 78 days from the injury. Within 90 days.
An Achilles that, man, it was.
So I don't know. I don't know if this is a new moment for medical history or whether or not this is going to end disastrous. But there is definitely some wild things going on.
Good story. Did you get a chance to watch Hard Knocks?
I have not got to see Hard Knocks yet, but I know I saw some of the clips of it. Yeah,
spectacular. I mean, really, it's just so real time, and they had the story of Jalen Phillips, man. So it was gut wrenching. It was one of the hardest things to watch that I've ever watched in sports. It was just crazy. They did a phenomenal job. Even if you're not a Dolphin fan, I'd recommend you watch it. But there's the same thing on that field. Somebody blows out an Achilles.
Jonathan Aaron says he must have found the Holy Grail. Right. He found the cup. Classic Indiana Jones reference.
He was right. Well, it's either that or the mushrooms worked.
Right.
More sports news. Mark Cuban basically sells the team.
So no. You got to really do your homework. Yeah.
I know. Listen. So he sells the majority interest, but he kept control of the basketball. But his investment was $285 million when he bought it, and he sold it for $3.5 billion.
Do you know why?
Oh, I don't know why.
Do you know why? See, you got to go deep on the story here. Who he sold it to is the heir of the Sands Casino, right? And what he wants to do is he wants to move a basketball team to the center of a resort and casino. So it's my understanding that this buyout is part of moving the franchise, whether it be to Las Vegas or them building on some type of gambling reservation, to where the basketball team will be the focal point of the resort and casino. So there's this could be a long-term play. Crazy things are happening.
I'm sure, but just on a pure investment level, forget it. If it ended today, that's a pretty good return on investment. So
no doubt about it.
We will talk about return on investment today. We got lots of good stuff about LinkedIn. Grab your friends, grab a cup of coffee, get buckled in. Shay, what shirt are you wearing today?
Preemptively wearing my Top Gun shirt.
And what is that for?
That is for our Huddler in the hot seat tomorrow, Mr. Waldo Waldman, your wingman.
The original, that is the original Top Gun guy. He's great. He's a friend of mine. I met him through LinkedIn. Go figure. He'll be joining us tomorrow with lots of cool stuff. But what a cool tagline, like to run around. Yeah, the wingman, your wingman.
Absolutely.
Anyway, wake this thing up and let's get to some fun stuff.
Wake up, everybody. Get up, get up, get up, get up. Wake up. Come on. Wake up, everybody. Teach a new way. Maybe then they'll listen what you have to say. Wake up, everybody. No more sleeping in bed. No more about to thinking, time of thinking ahead. Come on.
All right. So as we end the month, it's November 30th. This is a weird week. Like after Thanksgiving, you kind of think November's over, but then you had 4 more days. It was
I was a fan of it. Like I was like, because especially for us, we're like, we're kind of ending the month halfway through December. So like to know that there was an extra week in there before we got into December, I was a fan.
I guess I have no choice because I live day by day. So I don't care what they call it. Tomorrow's December 1st. It could be whatever day you want it to be. But there's so much banter about LinkedIn. There's so much banter about you should do this, you should do that. People are just yelling. You and I, for sport, go down the funnel with people just to see what they're pushing. And most of it is complete rhetoric and does not work. And so I think you need to be careful about who you listen to. I came across this one yesterday and had to watch it twice to realize what a moron this is. Okay, Shay.
Prospecting is really, really tough. Personal branding isn't. Sorry, guys. It's just making comments back and forth on LinkedIn threads and being like, dope thread, I like that, thought, yada, yada, yada. And these SDRs, poor SDRs, get confused that they're working when they're not actually working. It's a great way to waste time and quote unquote socially listen, but will it actually book those meetings for you? Now, some could argue of like, oh, well, I build a personal brand, and then all these people inbound. And I'm like, well, the people who come in because of personal brand, usually they're outside of territory. They're never the right person.
Yep.
And so as an SDR, like I get this dope lead, but it's outside of my territory. So I have to pass it to another SDR who is spending time on the phones. So they get double bookings for my quote unquote work.
How do you build credibility then? I hear you. You're saying it's not necessarily maybe going to tie back to revenue. And I have heard this from people that have big personal brands of even if they do come inbound, they're like, oh, they weren't in my territory, so I have to ship them out. How do you build that credibility before going out? I guess by being good at your job?
Yeah, by being good at your job, learning about your buyer. Ta-da! Yeah, totally. It's crazy when you think about it, when you break down the math, that they're like, well, how will I have credibility? I'm like, learn more about their role. If you're selling into CTOs and you're ripping SDR tips on how to write a good cold email, do you think that builds credibility with a CTO that you know about their job? No. Yeah. And do you think they even need that if you know a lot about it in the room? Like, no. I'm like, none of the top performers that I've seen ever had a personal brand. None of the people that I know that had a personal brand were ever top performers. For sales reps and for AEs, I'm like, it's a really bad idea.
It's malpractice at that point.
None of the top performers have a personal brand. She should be executed on the spot. It's irresponsible for her to be speaking like an idiot. Like
I agree.
A complete moron. Like that says, first of all, there is power of inbound. You and I experience it all the time. There is power of building your brand so that people know who you are. She talks nothing about virtual prospecting, about how to use the platform the right way. She's telling people work is on the phone. What a moron.
The fact that she referenced like being on LinkedIn and like commenting and liking as only social listening and having no real value to booking a call or creating any kind of new opportunity is mind-blowing to me. And that to me is so like, I feel terrible for whatever business development representatives that she's responsible for, because it is a non-negotiable to be having a personal brand at this point. And it's a non-negotiable to be talking about what you know about and putting that out there and making it easy to consume for people when they come across you. So like, she's doing a disservice to the people that she's responsible for. And that's really disappointing and sad.
So I want to prove her wrong, because now my personality, I wanted to debate her. I wanted to get it on. Let's go, man. Because you're coming across real confident, and Michael Ficara, who, by the way, Michael, great to have you on board yesterday. Really, added some good stuff to the GOTB meeting. But the reality is, all of a sudden, everybody's an expert. You want to do my podcast? You're an expert. Well, talk to me about whatever you want to talk about. You're not good at it, but so the other side of this, there's always the yin and the yang, is probably the most identifiable personal brand, Gary Vee.
Everybody should be distributing content on LinkedIn. I'm writing a new book called Day Trading Attention. I believe that we all have to day trade attention to maximize our upside. What that means is you need to pay attention to everything that is going on. Look, I think LinkedIn's organic reach is something everyone under leverages on this day as we all sit here today. I think people understand you can go viral on TikTok, though that's much harder than 3 years ago. I don't think people understand how consistently you can get organic reach that you didn't have the day before on LinkedIn, and I'm very bullish on it. And I think everybody here, whether you sell a protein ball or you're actually in the B2B business, LinkedIn is more Facebook 2015 than it is the LinkedIn that I think everyone defaults into thinking it is. It's a really good psychology audience too. The human that's on LinkedIn when they're consuming LinkedIn is a different version of themselves, often very business transactional minded versus TikTok where you're just looking for escapism or entertainment.
So I think that was how is it possible that those two live in the same world?
Yeah, but I would say that, Gary Vee looks at everything through a marketing lens, right? So he's talking about marketing, which we believe is every business development person's responsibility. It doesn't matter whether you're the CEO or whether you're a BDR, a business development representative, everybody has a responsibility to market. So he's looking at it through a marketer's lens. She's looking at it through a business development, strictly outbound, inside sales. Your job is to hit the phones and wear people out by trying to get a meeting with them. And so she is completely missing the shift in buyer behavior, the shift in human behavior, where people would much rather be engaged in the place they want to engage in order to do the same thing, which is get the conversation. Gary Vee's still trying to draw people in to get consideration and drive revenue, but she's thinking about it in strictly an old school mentality where you have to hammer the outbound piece and you don't do anything else to augment that with this digital networking event that's happening 24 hours a day.
Now, I go back to, when I was on stage and I asked a group of CEOs, if I was fortunate enough to get your phone number and I called you, would you answer? Nobody said yes. Nobody, zero.
Right.
We're going to speak to that audience again in West Palm Beach in January. There'll be 150 owners, CEOs in the audience who do not accept cold calls. Don't answer the phone for anybody. What is she talking about? Yep. Work is being moronic and robotic and sitting on the phone and just wearing people out. It's just absolutely mind-boggling to me. So I love the fact that LinkedIn has grown up. LinkedIn is many layers of the ability to market yourself. You could, you can go to in-person meetings all day long. You can't reach the amount of people. So wherever you are, I went through this with Lori yesterday. We're going to reorient her sales team, who has done some stuff with us, but we're going to go back to doing that because I showed her 3 things and she goes, my sales team is not doing that.
Right.
I mean, just I had Chesley Gaddis yesterday. She's been with me 3 years. She's the top person at True. And I said, so let me ask you, how often do you mine your existing base? She goes, what do you mean? What do you mean? I go, well, how about this? You go to me, who you know is in your network, and how about you mine my base to get you leads?
Yeah.
Huh? What?
Right.
So if you did that once a week with one person or two, so you got 5 names, that's 20 a month, 60 a quarter. Look at here we go, man. 60 warm introductions. Mark, if I introduced you to somebody, what is the likelihood of you getting that meeting?
100%.
100%.
I mean, Scott just did it yesterday. Scott Garber just did it yesterday. He created a text thread with me and somebody else that he wanted to create an introduction to. That guy immediately booked a meeting for Tuesday.
Yeah.
So it's you don't miss on those.
Now
It's
you
100%.
you pointed it out that I did it on LinkedIn right in the feed. I mean,
Well, so hold on, right? So like this person's talking about how like commenting and stuff is a waste of time. Shay, do we have that screenshot? Are we able to show that?
Give me a
Okay.
minute.
So you
You'll find it.
commented.
It's Manish and Brendan.
You commented on Brendan Neef's post, right? Which that sent Brendan's post to your network. Now it lands on Manish's plate. Manish sees it, comments on it. So you strategically created an introduction just by liking and commenting. Now you followed up on Manish's comment like, hey, do you know Brendan? He's a great friend. You should know him. So you really drove it home. But either way, you created unbelievable value for your network, for those 2 people, and for everybody involved in a couple clicks of a button. How people don't understand the value of that and don't understand why you need to spend your time doing it strategically, not just scrolling. And that was something that I think Gary Vee said at the end of that video that I thought was really important. People are not operating the same way inside of Facebook and Instagram as they are inside of LinkedIn. People are in a whole different world of, I'm looking to grow, I'm looking to learn, I'm looking for a conversation, I'm looking for something that's going to help me get better, which you're not really doing that on Instagram. On Instagram, you're kind of looking to be entertained. You want to see some music. So here's a great example. There's the example of it. This is on Brendan's post. Manish commented on it, which the only reason Manish really sees it is because you create that engagement through the comment and the like, and then you're able to drive it home. So I just think it's an unbelievable way to really fast track all of the traditional behaviors that have been successful in business for decades and decades and decades. And you could do it anytime, anywhere, any place.
I think to further that point, when I do my LinkedIn work, I feel like I'm going to an event. It happens to be a virtual event, but there's stuff happening. You coined it early on when I was teaching it to you. You said digital high five,
right?
Or a virtual high five. Hey, what you doing?
Digital high five.
Walking on the street or in the hey, boom, how you doing? You can do that all day long in LinkedIn. So there's so many nuances that me after 10 years, I did an interview on The Few, which is another guy who was a Top Gun guy that's out now. And he called me an expert when we started the conversation. And I said, I don't think of myself as an expert. Conversely, I think of myself as a student, somebody who's just constantly learning and looking. And so lots of cool stuff. LinkedIn came out with their report. Shay, if you can show me the report, they come out with statistics that are just fantastic. Validate everything we do. Research pays off, man. This idiot this morning talks about social listening. How about research?
Right, correct. And so, yeah, I mean, if you look at the stats here, right, like what they're talking about is the likelihood of somebody being able accepting a connection request for you, or in this case, they're using InMails, but they're 78% more likely to accept an InMail if you viewed their profile. What does it mean if you viewed their profile? It means you found something. You went in there and found something relevant to start the conversation with about them. So the more time you spend in research, and I think this is going to be a big topic for us in the kickoff at the beginning of the year, is what are you doing? What is research? And really helping people define what to do in that time. It doesn't take a long time. And every time I do it live with somebody, I'm like, that took me a total of 90 seconds to find this person, find something that was a commonality between them, and send them a message that was personalized and relevant. And that was my post today, is what's the number one tip on LinkedIn to help you be successful? Everybody's always giving you information of this is what you have to do and this is what you have to do. I don't really believe in absolutes except for this one thing. And the absolute is every single connection request has to have a personalized invite. Whether you're sending it or somebody is sending it to you, you have to personalize the invite, or you got to respond with a message to the person that sent you an invite, because that is the only thing that drives the connection to a conversation. You could be collecting people all day long and be engaging and have great engagement and be great at the social networking piece. That's awesome. If you're not taking those people offline and having the conversation, you're not getting to the real gold. And so if you're not sending the message, to me, that is the only non-negotiable inside of LinkedIn, is that everything has to have a personalized invite.
It's so great, because yesterday I had a conversation with Peter Rose. Peter Rose, we met when he was working with the American Cancer Society. He's now out at David Posnack, doing a great job. Great to catch up with him. He answered the pain point survey. So I had a nice dialogue with him yesterday. And first thing he said is, I love watching Mark's post with his kids and and I hear that all the time. So when that lady says, I've never met a high performer who has a personal
Right.
You want me to roll the list of people that have done it?
Right. Unbelievable.
And we'll go to overtime.
Mark, I preach it all the time because I do it and I love it. And every single day, there's something new happening to me. But if you don't use LinkedIn right, or you have somebody in your world like that lady, you are missing the boat. I am doing more with less time, which is kind of a mind screw for me, because I'm like
Right.
I'm used to grinding it out. And it's like, okay, I've done it. What's your recommendation for people who want to get better at this?
I mean, it's a no-brainer, right? They should join the GOTB community. Like, that to me is, if you're unsure or you're not using it, or you're like, yeah, I feel like they're right, but I don't really know exactly what to do. Our course and our community, and I think, Jonathan Ahrens and Greg Goldstein have given us great testimonials from what this year was for them. And we ended the call yesterday with a great strategy session. And I think Jonathan Ahrens said, he was like, that was a great workshop. That wasn't a class. That wasn't a lecture. That was a workshop. We had everybody in there engaging and working through it. So if you are unsure about exactly what to do inside of LinkedIn to help yourself be successful, reach out to either my dad or myself. Let's grab a virtual coffee, talk to some people that are a part of the Get on the Ball community. Sherry Cedar, Les Gusky, Lori Kozneski, all here this morning. Jonathan Ahrens, Greg Goldstein, all people, Joy Linsky, all people that are doing it, have learned it, and continuing to grow with it. So if you are unsure, that is exactly what you should do.
So I'm throwing it out there for all of you people who are part of it, know what it works, know that it works. If you refer a friend, I've got $100 bill I'm sending your way. You cool with
There
that,
you
dude?
go. I love it. I love
$100.
it.
Every referral, $100. Boom.
I love
because you are doing a friend a favor. You are doing a client a favor. You are showing people that when you get better, the world changes. It's never been easier to grow revenue. Look at us doing it every day, sharing it. You want to get in with those tools. You want to get in with that monthly call. So let me know, and I will be happy to send you the $100.
Excellent. You guys have a great day. Do not miss tomorrow where we have Waldo Waldman. Going to be an unbelievable conversation about high performance, about being the best of the best when it comes to being a fighter pilot and all of the things that come along with that and how it can help you be successful. So excited for tomorrow's conversation. You guys have a fantastic Thursday. Let's get down to business.
Please don't worry about me. I'm about to let my heart speak. My friends keep telling me to leave this. So let's get down to business.